This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
There is a homeless crisis. There is a public health and safety crisis on the circle.
City officials are concerned the coronavirus pandemic will force more Indianapolis residents into homelessness. Working for you, we're taking a look at the steps they're taking to try and prevent that from happening. Plus,
we showed that Hoosiers know how to slow down the spread of coronavirus.
will Indiana's efforts to slow down the spread of the coronavirus work? Working for you, we're asking local experts. And a structure collapse in Hendricks County sends 4 people to the hospital this morning. The latest on what may have caused the partially built building to come crashing down. But first, here at 4:30, I want to thank you for joining our team on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is standing by from home this morning. And Todd, I think everyone's hoping for a more comfortable air mass in place. It's been really hot and humid today. Didn't feel quite as bad walking into work.
Yeah, you know, the temperatures are still going to be in the 80s here the next couple days, Lauren, but the big difference is the humidity. That is going to be a lot lower. And we're in the process of starting to work that in and now. That is the good news. You notice on your satellite radar picture that we're kind of split across central Indiana. Clear to the north from Lafayette to Kokomo to Peru. Some showers still lingering over towards the Richmond and Winchester area. And then down to the south, Bloomington to Greensburg. We still have a lot of clouds that are in place, but this is the front that's finally working its way through. The clouds will continue to push south and east, and as the day goes on, we will continue to see more and more in the way of sunshine. Where the clouds are in place, temperatures still in the 70s. Where they've cleared, we've dropped into the 60s in Lafayette as well as Tipton, where it's 67 degrees. Becoming more comfortable here this morning, and then throughout the day, we will see temperatures eventually climb up into the 80s, so it's a seasonable day for us with lots of sunshine as those highs eventually get up to anywhere from about 84 to 87 degrees. So just be a little bit patient here for the next couple hours, Lauren, and then we'll be in great shape going forward throughout the remainder of the day.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads at this hour. This is I-65 near Old State Road 334. This is up in the Whitestown area, and you can see traffic is moving along smoothly, both northbound and southbound. However, we do have some lane restrictions in place. You can see the orange barrels are out there in both directions, down to 1 lane on one side of the road. So just keep that in mind, but everything is moving along up to speed. No major delays to slow down your commute, so that is good news at this early hour. Taking a look over here on the east side, I-465 at East 16th Street. In that area, traffic is moving along just fine, northbound and southbound. We'll continue to keep our eyes on your roads throughout your Tuesday morning, and we'll keep you updated on any issues. So could the coronavirus pandemic force more people to the streets and into homelessness here in the Circle City? City leaders are concerned that it might, and now they're taking action to help get ahead of that curve. On Monday, leaders announced a plan to provide housing and health services to Indianapolis residents experiencing homelessness. This morning, homeless advocates fear the past 5 months are only the beginning of a massive problem.
We know that right now we have 15,000 homeless in Indianapolis. Once the moratorium on evictions comes, you will probably see 60 to 70,000 homeless in Indianapolis because individuals are out of work and then have no way to pay their rent because they didn't have the funds before.
As part of the new effort, the city is partnering with organizations like Reuben Engagement Center to use hotel rooms as an alternative for people experiencing homelessness. 2 people are dead and 1 is injured after a shooting in Spring Creek neighborhood up in Carmel. Police say the shooting happened at multiple places throughout the neighborhood. Gunfire killed 1 victim and the suspect. This morning, another victim is recovering from their injuries. A Carmel police officer responding to the shooting fired their weapon as well. However, it's not clear yet if the officer killed the suspect. This morning, police have not released what led up to that gunfire. This morning, 4 people, including a juvenile, are recovering following a structure collapse in Brownsburg. The collapse happened at a building still under construction on State Road 267 near Northfield Drive. Intense thunderstorms were moving through the Hendricks County community during that collapse, although fire officials say they can't confirm yet an exact cause. At last check, the injured juvenile was listed in critical condition at Riley Hospital for Children. It is 4:34, turning now to the latest numbers on the coronavirus and its impact on the Hoosier State. This morning, state health officials confirmed more than 560 new coronavirus cases in the state of Indiana. The latest case is bringing the total number of cases to nearly 63,000. 3 more Hoosiers have died from complications from the virus, and that brings the total number of deaths to more than 2,700. Taking a look now at the state's hospital data, this morning 46% of Indiana's ICU beds are still available. At this hour, COVID-19 patients are using 12% of the ICU beds. This morning, nearly 84% of the state's ventilators are also available. Bars and nightclubs in Indianapolis are closed, and Hoosiers statewide are required to wear face coverings. So are the measures enough to once again slow the spread of COVID-19? We asked an expert at the Regenstrief Institute.
I think we're hopeful that these new measures will help to slow the growth of the virus because, of course, as we all know now, and we can watch the data on a daily basis, we're seeing an increase in that test positive rate, which is concerning.
Dr. Granis goes on to say that we can expect to know if the new measures put in place are working in about 2 weeks. He also says evidence and studies continue to show that face masks and social distancing cut down on community spread, and hopes people know if we follow guidelines, we can get back to some sense of normalcy quicker.
During the first phase in March and April and May, we showed that Hoosiers know how to slow down the spread of coronavirus. And I think we are ready and we are prepared and we are armed with great information to be able to slow this spread.
The Regenstrief Institute has a COVID-19 dashboard where they compile data from across the state. It breaks down the information by county. That way you know exactly how the coronavirus is impacting your community. At 4:36, more changes to the IndyCar schedule due to the coronavirus, and it means another race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 3 events already scheduled on the calendar will now become doubleheader weekends. The first doubleheader will be at the Mid-Ohio on Saturday, and Sunday, August 8th and 9th, there will be back-to-back races on the Oval at the Worldwide Technology Raceway near St. Louis. That's on August 29th and 30th. The Harvest Grand Prix at IMS in October will become a 2-day event on the road course on Friday, October 2nd and Saturday, October 3rd. The doubleheaders replace the canceled races in Portland, Oregon, and Laguna Seca. Well, the plan by Senate Republicans provides nearly $1 trillion in coronavirus relief. After the breakaway, House Democrats say Republicans aren't ready for serious negotiations. Plus, uncertainty in the school year could prove tricky for parents trying to return to work. Just ahead this morning, how some companies are planning for child care challenges. Todd.
And Lauren, the cold front is making its way through the area. A cool front, it's not really dropping the temperatures all that much, but it is changing the wind direction. And as these winds switch off towards the north and northwest, we're going to bring in some drier air, and that is going to drop the humidity as we work our way across central Indiana throughout the day today. We'll talk about that and beyond coming up in your 7-day planning forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on RTV 6.
Welcome back. The time right now is 4:41. Let's take a look at traffic on the northwest side. This is I-65 just south of 38th Street, where police are at the scene of a crash. This is blocking the right lane near 38th Street. This is in the southbound side, so just keep that in mind as you're traveling through the area. Traffic can get by just fine. The center and left lanes this morning give them plenty of space. This morning, as health officials try to contain a spike in COVID-19 cases, millions of unemployed Americans are struggling to make ends meet. As ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports, time is running out on a financial lifeline that's set to expire, while lawmakers can't seem to agree on what to do next.
This morning, the staggering spread of the coronavirus. More than 16 million cases worldwide, but the U.S. continues to be the hardest hit. A quarter of all the cases across the globe right here in America. The death toll is climbing in Florida, over 6,000. The Sunshine State trailing only California for total confirmed positives. In those states seeing a spike, health officials urging more restrictions.
So we can see what is happening in the South moving north. We do believe that there are states that do need to close their bars, to decrease indoor gatherings to less than 10.
There is some hope on the horizon in the race for a vaccine. Moderna, the first company in the U.S., heads into phase 3 for clinical trials. 30,000 Americans are expected to participate. Here's Dr. Anthony Fauci on Fox News.
That makes me cautiously optimistic that we may have something here, but it's going to take a few months to determine whether or not we do.
And there's another race in Congress and against time. 30 million Americans are set to lose a key coronavirus unemployment benefit.
I don't know what we're going to do.
Single mother Sherry Johnson says a cut in coronavirus unemployment benefits would financially cripple her family. Republicans are calling for another round of $1,200 stimulus checks.
The American people need more help,
but want to slash the $600 weekly payments for out-of-work Americans, while Democrats want to keep it going through to 2021.
If you've lost your job through no fault on your own, Republicans say take a 30% tax cut.
And Democrats unveiled their plan 2 months ago. Republicans just yesterday, but it could still be weeks before a deal gets done. Andrew Dimber, ABC News, Washington.
Well, it looks like grievances will be aired between Attorney General William Barr and congressional Democrats during a hearing set for later today. Barr is set to speak for the first time before the House Judiciary Committee. On Monday, the Justice Department released his opening statement. It appears he will go after Democrats who say he says are trying to discredit him. The AG claims it's because of his investigation into the origins of the FBI's Russia probe. Democrats allege Barr has committed numerous abuses, including intervening in prosecutions of two of President Trump's allies, ousting a prominent U.S. attorney, and supposedly making threats to state and local officials over their handling of the coronavirus. This morning, Google faces new accusations crossing the line with users' privacy. Australia's Competition and Consumer Commission accused the tech giant of misleading users about its use of their personal information. The commission accused Google of using the information to target advertising. The allegations come from the company's 2016 move to combine users' personal information in their Google accounts with the activity from non-Google sites. Google says it cooperated with the investigation and denies those allegations. This morning, a Western Indiana nature preserve is closed due to excessive litter. Officials say visitors to the Fall Creek, George in Warren County have overused the site. They've trashed it with litter. The parks director there says the popular site's going to remain closed indefinitely. Officials say that the closure is to prevent park trails from erosion and to protect rare plants from being trampled. Time right now is 4:45. If you're looking for something to do on your Tuesday, Todd, is it going to be a good day to get outside?
I'm heading to the golf course after we get done with the noon show later on today. So, yeah, Lauren, it's going to be a great day to get outside and do anything outdoors, whether it's golf, heading to the pool, just a walk or a bike ride around the neighborhood. Now, this morning we have a few minor issues for the next couple hours, but by mid-morning and onward, that's when the weather turns really, really nice. You notice some visibility issues starting to settle in here in northern locations. Peru down to just about 0.4 of a mile visibility. The skies have cleared in northern locations, and that's why the fog is settling in. We had all that rain yesterday, where the visibility is not an issue. The clouds are still in place. But as the skies continue to clear from north to south, I wouldn't be surprised to see some of those visibilities from Indianapolis down to Bloomington start to drop just a little bit. Here's a live look outside from downtown off to the west. Kind of a pretty picture. You can see the low clouds here moving across the skyline, and then to the top you see all that dark. That's just clear sky. Obviously, it's dark because the sun's not up yet. But once the sun comes up, we should have plenty of sunshine, and any fog that is out there should burn off very, very quickly. Where the skies are clear and that fog is in place, temperatures are in the 60s. Where the clouds are in place, no visibility issues, and temperatures are still running in the 70s. 74 in Bloomington, 72 in Connersville, and Bedford is at 73 degrees throughout the day. Today, though, mostly sunny skies. It turns into an absolutely beautiful afternoon for us. Start making those plans now. Temperatures will be in the 80s, and as you see on the satellite radar picture, a few lingering spot showers on the far eastern side of the state, but notice how the clouds are clearing out from northwest to southeast, and that trend will continue as the cold front continues to push off to the west. And this is a big, long front. You can see how it extends all the way from New England now back towards Oklahoma City. So just be patient if you're walking out the door this morning for some cloud cover to the south, but by 9 a.m., I think we are in great shape. All of that moves out, and then we're left with nothing but sunshine and lower humidity throughout the day. In fact, the humidity will drop. It's still a little bit muggy right now, but by mid-afternoon and into the evening hours, it's going to be absolutely terrific with virtually no humidity. A far cry from where we were yesterday morning. That makes for an absolutely beautiful evening. Temperatures in the 80s, falling into the 70s across the area. Sunset at 9:02. Tomorrow's another great day. A little warmer again, and the humidity's still in check though tomorrow, so it's pretty nice. And then we get into cooler temperatures with highs that'll actually be below normal Thursday through the weekend, Lauren. And with those slightly cooler temperatures will come basically a daily chance of scattered showers and storms.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning. This is I-65 and County Line Road down on the south side where you can see traffic is moving along northbound and southbound. No issues to slow you down, so that is great news. Keep in mind as you're traveling on the south side, we still have ongoing road construction on the ramp system from Southport Road to I-65, so you can always use County Line Road as a detour. Up here on the north side, traffic's moving along up to speed at I-465 over the White River. No issues to slow down your commute in this area, but of course we'll continue to keep our eyes on your roads and keep you updated. It is 4:48 this morning. Employers are trying to plan for the fall as the future of schools and childcare remains uncertain. The Society of Human Resource Management looked into how companies are preparing for this. Some are allowing telework to continue full-time. Some are offering flexible work schedules. That means parents can have off or telework certain days if kids are partially learning from home. The small number of employers want to allow parents to bring their kids to work. Others are considering subsidies for childcare.
I think employers are still trying to figure it out. And again, the schools are still trying to figure out what they're doing. And so this is an evolving process. It's going to be changing. And I just foresee that many employers are going to be doing things as far as making accommodations that maybe they hadn't made previously.
The SHRM has found that 45% of organizations have not announced a date to return to the workplace. More than half plan to return by the end of this month. Many say the flexible options can have benefits. A new blood test could help doctors detect cancer years before symptoms arrive. A team at the University of California spent a decade developing this test to detect malignant tumors in the early stages. The technique looks for DNA signatures for specific kinds of cancers and identifying locations with the greatest chance of signaling the presence of cancer. Researchers found signatures of the cancer up to 4 years before patients were diagnosed. Right now, the test can only detect liver, stomach, bowel, lung, and esophageal cancers. The legacy of Pete and Alice Dye goes well beyond the famous Island Green and historic TPC sawgrass. Just after the break, we'll take a look at their legacy here in the Hoosier State. It's 4:50. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Crooked Stick Golf Club in Carmel is set to host the prestigious Western Amateur this week, one of the many high-profile tournaments being played on Pete Dye courses around the globe. But Pete and his wife Alice leave behind a lasting legacy in golf course design, and as sports director Dave First explains, namely here in Indiana, where they called home.
You probably just tore it apart.
There's no lack of memories of Pete Dye, and certainly not of Pete and his wife Alice, two of the great course architects of modern golf. Stirred up again as Crooked Stick hosts the Western Amateur this week.
They were a great team. Alice brought a perspective that Pete didn't see, and Pete brought his genius that Alice couldn't even imagine. None of us could imagine some of the things he came up with.
It includes the famous Island Green on the 17th hole at TPC Sawgrass in suburban Jacksonville, Florida. In fact, there's a quote from Pete on the first tee of the PGA Tour's Anchor facility. Quote, "It's a great bit of personal satisfaction to be asked by the tour members to build their golf course."
For sure, probably the most familiar with Pete Dye golf courses.
Avon's Patrick Rogers gets to see plenty of Dye courses on the PGA Tour and has seen them for years, playing Pete's many designs in Indiana.
I don't think I really appreciated how quirky they could be, having grown up on so many different Pete Dye golf courses throughout central Indiana. But I definitely feel at home and kind of appreciate kind of the genius or maybe even the madness.
Rooted in a trip to Scotland in the 60s, the designs share a mixture of big bunkers, small bunkers, deep bunkers, the use of cross ties, sharp angles, combining the physical and the mental for the golfer. And the stories?
You can't put on tape.
Bobby Weed is one of Pete and Alice's famous design proteges, with courses from coast to coast, including a redesigned Culver Academy's golf course in northern Indiana, voted one of the top 9-hole courses in the country.
As great a legacy as Pete has with his golf courses, an equal legacy of Pete will be all the people that he mentored and touched and brought into this game.
From Sawgrass to Harbortown to Indiana's Brickyard Crossing, Crooked Stick, and the Pete Dye course in French Lick, Pete and Alice Dye seemingly overlook it all.
His boldness and brashness, and I've always been very proud that he's a Hoosier.
One of a kind, broke the mold, best of the modern era.
What a privilege it was to know them. And for us here at Crooked Stick, this is their baby, is what they called it. And so it's pretty special.
Leaving behind a lasting legacy. Dave First, RTV 6 Sports.
All right, thank you, Dave. I played a couple of those courses he mentioned, and yeah, Pete, he was a legend, and today will be a good day to get out there and golf if that's in your plans. It turns into a beautiful day. A little muggy this morning, a little bit of cloud cover and patchy fog, but that'll move out very, very quickly. Absolutely terrific this afternoon with a high of 86 degrees. 89 will be your high temperature tomorrow. A little warmer, but not necessarily more humid. That is the good news, and then storms do return to the forecast on Thursday. No days a washout, but they'll be around Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's a Monday as well. The time now is 4:57. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.